Things about myself is that I'm 12, I live with my dad, and that my mum is an alcoholic.
CAN's Young Persons Programme was set up in 1993. It was designed to offer young people a second chance at life and an opportunity to make better choices for the future. Young, vulnerable and alone, often these young people have no one to turn to.
My mum, she's an alcoholic.
My mum used to drink a lot every day, and she was really horrible when she was drunk.
My dad's drinking, always shouting at me and my family. It makes me upset.
My mum taking drugs, crack, cocaine, all of that. I don't really know the names.
Brought up in an environment of drink, drugs, domestic violence or even all three, it's easy to lose your way.
We have, within our young people's team, we have two groups. We have children, which is between 5 and 12 years old, and those are children affected by someone else's drug and alcohol use, mainly because of parental drugs and alcohol. Some of those young people, they grow up in a household where drugs and alcohol is quite normal, where they've just seen parents, they've seen adults. This is what you do, this is how you cope with life. So actually it can become really normal for them. So there is a danger that they can go on to develop their own drug and alcohol issues as they get older.
Sometimes these children grow into young people that will learn to use drink and drugs themselves as a way of coping with life, creating a vicious cycle of abuse.
Smoking cannabis was the main thing, and that was obviously, because of that, it's rather expensive, so I had to get the money somehow, which I sometimes did by taking off my parents or family.
Like, as soon as I'm out, I'll go out and get drunk. But it weren't that long ago, like, I realised it's stupid what I'm doing, so I needed to sort it out.
For most of us, home is a haven, but to these young people, it's a place of uncertainty and neglect. Adrift from normality for as long as they can remember, it becomes a place of unwanted memories and a lost childhood.
I was looking after her. My 4 younger siblings, from the age of 11, like doing mum stuff, taking them to school, washing up, and that's all my life revolved around.
I never really known any different than my mum drinking, but the age I sort of realised it wasn't right was in primary school, when I realised that everybody's mum didn't drink as much as mine and they wasn't quite as horrible as my mum was to me.
When my mum and dad started arguing and my mum wouldn't come home for days and my dad would always be shouting at me and my brother.
She'd just turn on me, like she'd said to me, all you do is eat, you're fat, you don't do anything right.
Probably affected my life quite badly. I was in and out of different schools, and I either wasn't at school because I had to look after my brother and sisters. I became quite aggressive.
I see my mum drunk, and when she turns up to like one of my brother's football matches drunk.
My brother and sister's life was, I'm hoping that they don't remember that much. I tried to not shut them off from the world, but shut them off from her. I didn't want them to see her arguing or drinking. Obviously she didn't in front of me, but I was the oldest. They were so young, it didn't seem right for them to see it.
Faced with issues that in ordinary circumstances children would never have to address, it can become a bewildering and frightening time, especially with no one to talk to.
It's messing with her head. She doesn't see what's, the bigger picture of the story, what she's actually done and what effects she's caused on my younger brothers and sisters.
My mum usually sends me to bed early and then she'd drag me upstairs like 5, 6 o'clock because she was drunk and didn't know what she was doing. Thought it was later than it was.
There was a couple times where I would have to go into her purse and take money because we were so low on food, and I'd have to go out shopping.
I would sit in my bedroom crying. I'd be so worried about my mum. Most of the time she'd be in prison. She would probably be with my uncle, disappearing and shoplifting.
For fear of ridicule, these young people tell no one. Fear and anger trapped up inside them. As a result, their actions and behaviour are often misunderstood, and this can lead to a vicious cycle of embarrassment and frustration.
Through school, I didn't have a good experience through school, because my reputation was so bad. I felt I had to carry on with that reputation and brought other people down with me.
It's really important that we're able to engage with those young people, we're able to work with them, we're able to obviously intervene earlier and obviously stop them becoming the kind of adult drug and alcohol users of tomorrow, really.
Long term, if I carried on, I could be homeless. I wouldn't have no money to sort myself out, clothe myself, because I would be too dependent on alcohol. I wouldn't have my family.
I was quite ashamed that I had stolen off them, and I just didn't really I didn't like being in that situation where they were able to mention it. I was trying to kind of block out what I'd done.
CAN offer a range of services to help young people, but for some, they just need a safe place to talk, to release, to trust, and to help understand what they're going through.
I told my stepmom that I'd been getting frustrated, and she took me to my doctor and she referred me.
When I first meet someone through CAN, obviously introduce yourselves, and then they'll talk to me about what work they're going to do with me to try and help me.
It showed me that it was confidential and that she was only going to help, and then I just blurted everything out.
I talk about maybe why my mum drinks.
We chat a lot, we play arts and crafts, we do questions, and even one time she brought in Uno, and it was so funny.
They CAN just don't judge. They don't think, oh, he's been doing that and he's stolen off his parents. It's right, you've done that, how can you build it back up?
There are currently 1.3 million children in the UK suffering the effects of drugs and alcohol misuse. And once, I was one of them. When I was a child, CAN didn't exist, and my life spiralled ever downward, leading from my parents' substance misuse to my own and ultimately homelessness. I found CAN eventually as an adult, but I wish it could have been sooner.
You hear some stories as a practitioner, and it can be shocking, it can be incredibly moving, but then on the flip side it can also be there's enormous resilience amongst children and young people as well, that they accomplish some incredible things despite the situations they're in.
The stories in this film belong to people that CAN are offering a future, a new way of life that includes love and support, and more importantly, a brighter future. Everyone's story is different, but the support needed is the same. The course of a person's life can be changed with just one word: CAN.
When my relationship with my family goes really well, that makes me really happy, and spending time with my boyfriend and just in general just doing good things in my life just makes me happy.
It's been so long since something's happened, and now that I'm with CAN and everything's moving along so quickly, I just wish I'd done it I wish I'd known about it sooner.
It's so much easier being able to think about going home to be happy and to do stuff with my family rather than crying myself to sleep and stuff.
But I get to have her with me, and I don't have to be talking to her through a phone in prison and sending her letters, and having her with me, always painting my nails, doing my hair, and watching movies with me.
I would say to someone who's down about drinking or drugs, you're so much better than that, and once you get past that rocky stage, you'll see how much good you've got going in your life, and you can get there, you can meet all your goals and dreams. If you really want to do it, you will.